Thank everybody for joining in this wonderful, wonderful but rainy. I guess it stopped a little bit, but we'll keep it going here. But first, I'd like to thank last week's guest that filled in for me, William Murray and his sister Yvonne Harris. They both did an awesome job. I was in Miami, Florida for the African American Film Festival, so I had an awesome time there. So just want to thank them both for tuning in. So we are here live and got some new mics here, right? That's right. All right. Yeah. Yeah, new mics, stepping things up here. It sounds good. Sounds good. Loud and clear. So I have the opportunity to have in a guest in the studio. But first, I'll introduce my co-host here, my queen, Sylvia.
Good evening.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to bring her in. She has certain skills and attributes that I thought would be uh, that would be awesome with our distinguished guests that we have in the studio with us. And I met this young lady several months ago. Actually, she shouldn't be certainly is known throughout the educational arena in the DC area. But I will read her bio. She's right next to me. But Dr. Elizabeth Primas. Elizabeth Primas was born in Washington, D.C. and attended D.C. public schools. All right. And you both have something
That's
to
right.
relate to
We're
that.
both in DC.
Yes. Before going on to the District of Columbia Teachers College, Trinity College, and George Washington University, where she earned her doctorate degree in education and an educational specialist degree in literacy. She worked in DCPS, that's DC Public Schools, just so everybody know, for 33 years, teaching and coaching teachers and effective strategies for teaching reading to all children. It's great, it's great. During her tenure with DCPS, she took a leave of absence to work with the Educational Testing Service, ETS, where she served as teacher in residence to develop a national board certification for elementary and middle school reading and English language arts teachers. She returned to DCPS as the director of literacy, a position she held until she retired. All right, and that retirement, I read this part earlier, turned out to be very brief within 6 days. Okay.
Took a mini vacation. You didn't really retire.
Wow, I missed that part. Okay. Was recruited by the Roland Reading Foundation to work with teachers nationally on best practices to teach who has been historically underserved, or you can clarify that.
Well, I was working with schools that taught basically African American and Hispanic students.
Yeah. Okay.
And there were students who really had been underserved and really had not reached their full potential. So I was pulled in to work with them, and I worked from North Carolina to Maine to Chicago to Wisconsin.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, and it says you worked in the Friendship Foundation, as well, Louisiana, huh? Yes.
So I started off with Friendship Public Charter Schools in DC, and I worked there for 3 years because I thought I was going to retire from Roland Reading. And I got a phone call and said, you all around the country doing things for other people. We need you right here because DC isn't straight yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so Donald Hentz, who was the founder and CEO of Friendship Public Charter School, called me in off the road to come into his organization. I stayed with him for 3 years and then transitioned over to their foundation, which does turnaround schools around the country. And so I was sent to Baton Rouge, where I worked with a school that they had taken over. And within 1 year, they became the most improved school in the state of Louisiana.
Wow.
So I'm very happy to have had that experience, to have worked with Friendship, both their public charter school here in DC and with their foundation.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I also saw that you a published author.
A few books.
Several books, as well as you were awarded the DC Teacher of the Year.
Yes, in fact, I was DC's 2000 Teacher of the Year. We call them the Millennial Teachers.
Okay.
And we're getting ready to have a big reunion of all of the National State Teachers of the Year here in Washington, D.C. in July.
Okay, okay. Yes, one of my friends, Kimberly Worthy, she was 2, 3 years ago. I was teacher of the year. Yes.
I look forward to meeting her at the
Right, right.
reunion. Yes.
Great. All right, and you sit on several boards, or what is this? Also, some literary societies, International Literacy Association, as well as Phi Data Kappa.
So
And
the Phi Delta Kappa is the National Honor
Phi
Society
Delta
for
Kappa.
Educators.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I was
Okay.
awarded that in 19,
Mhm.
many years
Yeah.
ago.
Yes, yes. And actually, and I'm not sure if this is the National Association of Black Educators. I think I went to a conference.
Yes,
they had in
and you'll
DC.
notice that one of our speakers
Mhm.
tomorrow night is the president of the National Association of Black School Educators. So
Oh, Marietta English.
Yes,
Yes, she's
Marietta
from
English.
Baltimore.
yes, she's from
Right,
Baltimore,
right,
so
yes,
we're
yes.
being represented around the DMV at our with our panel. We have
Wow.
people from
Okay.
Maryland, DC, and Virginia on the
Yes.
panel. So I'm looking forward to that lively discussion and really having parents there and engaged
Mhm.
and answering a lot of their questions. I'm getting phone calls from parents who've seen the flyer and
Mm.
said, well, I have a question, but I'm not sure I'm gonna make it to the conference, and I really want to get my questions answered. So we're trying to answer questions as many different ways as we possibly can.
Mhm. Oh,
So I
great,
have a
great.
question because we're both Washingtonians.
Yes.
And we don't run across people who are actually Washingtonians anymore. We're so many
Actually, all of my
transplants.
best friends are Washingtonians.
Really?
Yes.
I run across so many people. They're transplants from other places.
Yeah.
But growing up in DC and being educated in the DC school system, I actually went to my high school was McKinley.
Mine too.
Okay.
And I'm not going to tell you when you came out, it
Okay.
was much later than when I came out, but you're much sooner. But my mother also was a Spanish teacher at McKinley
Really?
Tech. Marie Primas, she retired, I think, around 72,
Oh,
but I had already been gone.
okay. My sister was also a Techite, so it's a tradition in our family.
Okay.
McKinley Techite. My brother strayed because I think he went to Ballou and then he went to some other school. I don't know where else.
So my mother was with the first group of African American teachers who
Oh.
taught there after integration.
Wow.
So she actually started off her teaching career in the South.
Mm-hmm.
She's from DC, but she moved south for 2 years to teach in North Carolina when she first graduated from Miners Teachers College and Howard University.
Okay.
And then she taught at Western, which was not integrated, but they didn't know they were.
Oh.
But she was a linguist and had the highest test scores for foreign language. She spoke 7 languages. And so when she took the language test on all the different tests, they wanted to place her in their best school. It is now Duquesne.
Okay.
She taught they at Western until Spingarn opened, and she transferred over to Spingarn. So.
Okay. Oh, great, great. So this conference, of course, but first let's talk about you. You were recently on the board of the NNPA, and that's what you're talking about here.
So I'm not on the board.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
actually a member of NNPA
Oh, no.
now.
Okay.
So I was, the NNPA, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, received a Bill and Melinda Gates grant
Yes.
to do a public awareness campaign around the Every Student Succeeds Act. And we shortened it to ESSA.
Mhm.
And so in doing that, we're looking at around the country how to get Black parents engaged, because our specific charge was to make sure Black parents knew what the law had, what the law should do, and how they had their voices heard. So we found out with the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, which was signed in 1965, which was supposed to close the achievement gap, didn't close the achievement gap.
Mhm.
And then in 2001, we had No Child Left Behind. It was supposed to close the achievement gap, and it didn't close the achievement gap.
Mhm.
Barack Obama tried the race to the top. It didn't get real traction. So in 2015, he signed, in December the 10th, he signed the Every Student Succeeds Act. We're hoping that it will get the traction that we have not had with the other laws. And one of the key differences between this law and those that did not succeed is parents have a right to have their voices heard. And we're really looking forward to making sure that parents have their voices heard. So we've done a breakfast in March. We did a meeting where we brought students in, hoping the students would take the word back to their parents in January. Tomorrow, we're having a national Black Parents Town Hall meeting, and we're having parents come in from the DMV.
Okay.
We recognize that that's not going to get all Black parents involved. So between July and December, we're going to do 5 more town hall meetings around the country.
Okay.
And so we will be doing regional town hall meetings, and we have, NNPA has 5 regions.
Okay.
And so we'll be in each region once every